Welcome to the Sacred Window podcast. Here, we look closely at the intersections of the postpartum window, the Ayurvedic perspective on health and healing, and the universal mother principles that are the keys to giving and receiving effective care. Hello, I'm Devlin Eck. I'll be taking you through interviews with professionals who are making a profound difference in the lives of their clients, conversations with individuals brave enough to share their stories of vulnerability as a way to lift up others, and my own journey through birth, parenting, caregiving, and building a conscious business. We are here to honor the sacred windows, the profound transitions in life that give it all meaning. Welcome to the conversation.
And I will never be the same again.
Hi there. This episode is one that I'm very excited to talk about. Some of you, many of you, may have heard me talk about the universal mother principles. These are sort of the way that healing is actually accessed. So for being able to give effective care, being able to receive effective care, there's certain qualities that need to be present. It's not just about the act of caregiving, it's about how that caregiving is delivered. And these universal mother principles were something that I started to really try to feel into as I was designing the curriculum years ago for what would become part of our current certification program, the Conscious Postpartum Care program. And as I was doing that, I felt into this sort of portal of what it actually looks like when this care, conscious care, is received. When we have that there, we're able to access it. So as I was starting to talk about them, I just sort of downloaded it as the mother principles. I got really excited because the more I started writing about it and thinking about it, and talking about it with my team, it became so relevant of like, this is what we have to begin with. Whether we're doulas going into a caregiving situation, we have to begin with this. Whether it's in our own homes, like for me, it became so relevant in my parenting. And so as I started moving along with them, I started to realize like, oh, mother is very specifically gendered, but this is a quality that expands beyond that. And so I started feeling into it as these universal mother principles. Um, Everything within the universe engages within a balance between opposites. And that's what I want to talk about in this episode today, is really about how gender identity fits into these universal mother principles. When we study Ayurveda, we start to really understand how everything in life is engaging with this duality, these opposites, and there's this spectrum within these two opposites that we find ourselves in, and we can always create shifts in order to bring us to the place within that spectrum that's the best one for us. So learning how to do that is all about what Ayurveda is, whether it's looking at the food that we're eating, whether it's understanding what type of lifestyle practices I need to have to make me feel my most vibrant. This is all part of engaging within these opposites. So this came up because I received a communication a few months ago from someone I had not met personally yet, but she was really, really excited to learn more about these universal mother principles, and she had an opportunity to speak about them. And something that came up was, why are they called the universal mother? And it was this reaction to the word mother that came up. And I get it. I totally get it. And so she reached out to me and asked if I had a podcast episode about this topic. And I said, no, I do not. But I wrote it down and said, I need to do that. And so I'm doing that today. And I'm really happy to be doing that. And I'm hoping that as I kind of share about my thoughts and my experience, that you, whoever you are that's listening to this, understand that you have the freedom to internalize and create a sense of understanding within yourself that is totally unique and individual to you. So, for example, when I am studying Ayurveda, every single instructor that I listen to has a slightly different take on these foundational principles, so that every time I listen to somebody, I'm learning something new and I'm experiencing it in my own way because I'm filtering it through my own level of understanding and embodiment. It's making sense to me in my body in a way that like rings bells in a slightly different way than it might for somebody else. So this is a place to perhaps understand why I call them the universal mother principles, and also to give you freedom to create a diverse range of understanding based on you and your framework and your background, and what is embodied for you. I think for me, it really starts in recognizing that often people get stuck in vocabulary. We get stuck on labels, we get stuck on the rules. And I feel like that is also part of this span of opposites that we'll get into in a little bit. But when I am thinking and feeling into these principles specifically, I'm thinking about what is connecting within the heart. There is a healing that can happen when we practice these principles. And that is what is important to me, is practicing the principles. It's not about what they're called. Um, so let's look at Ayurveda for a second. So Ayurveda is a 5,000 plus year old science. It is the longest continually practiced medical science in this world. And within Ayurveda, without going into too much anatomy and physiology, I want to talk about the channel system, also called the Nadi system, N-A-D-I. So the Nadi system, these are not visible channels. If you looked within the human body, you would not see them, but these channels carry currents. They carry electrical, energetic currents all throughout the body. And I'm going to just talk about the three main channels. These are really, really important. The main channel is called the Sushumna channel, and this is a main channel that goes down the center of the body and connects our seven major chakras. Goes down the spine. Folks who have practiced yoga, maybe you've heard or practiced some Kundalini yoga. This is really an activation of the Sushumna channel. And on either side of this main channel, the Sushumna channel, lies two other channels. This is the Ida and the Pingala channel. So every human being in the world, every human being contains these vital channels, and this is responsible for carrying our life force, our prana, through the spinal cord. And each of these sides has a different quality to them. So the Ida, which is on the left side of the Sushumna channel, this is considered the feminine channel or the lunar channel. The right side is the Pingala, and this is considered the masculine or solar channel. We can connect with these channels directly through the nostrils. So if you have practiced Nadi Shodhana, which is a pranayama practice that's designed to balance these two opposing sides or energetic channels within our body. And this is a really beautiful, appropriate, accessible practice for postpartum in particular, or anytime someone is feeling a stress response. This enables us to create a homeostasis or a balance within the body. So look up Nadi Shodhana if you have not yet, and I highly encourage you to begin experiencing this beautiful breath medicinal practice that is accessible for everyone and directly gives you access to the Ida and Pingala channels. So Ida, let's go back to Ida. This is a cooling energy. It is a calming energy. It is a creative energy. Pingala is more heating, it is more activated, it is more analytical. With Ida, this left side channel, this activates the parasympathetic nervous system. So when we think about the parasympathetic nervous system, we're thinking about our rest and digest response in the body. This is what helps us to conserve our energy, to slow down our heart rate, to regulate. It helps support healthy digestion because when our heart rate evens out, our body is able to do its natural work without being interfered by outside activity. The Pingala is directly connected to the sympathetic nervous system. So this is most commonly points to a fight or flight response. This side is going to promote more action, an energetic response. It will increase the heart rate. And if it becomes out of balance, I think we've all probably experienced some level of stress response in our body that goes a little bit out of control or maybe a lot, and it will impact our digestion. It will impact the way that our mind processes and works. And of course, there are a number of other ways that the body can be impacted with an imbalance of stress. So when we are thinking about these two channels of active and passive, hot, cooling, um, we can look at how using these two channels to impact how we experience the balance of these two in the body becomes really, really important. And we can see that it's an incredible tool that's always there. It's free. We have this within us. And how creating a balance of these two energies is so important for maintaining the quality of life that we want to have. So when we look at how our physiology is offering us this spectrum, we get to choose, which level. Potentially, when we are born, we are given a certain constitution that is perfect health for us. My perfect version of health does not look the same as yours. Also, my perfect version of health looks different now than it did 10 years ago. My needs in my body right now are different than they were when I woke up this morning. We're always kind of moving along and experiencing these different phases of balance. And so being able to reflect and identify, oh, like as I'm recording this podcast, like I'm more activated. I can see like in my Zoom picture, like I've got more flush in my face. I have this more heat of the Pingala channel activated right now. And then afterwards, I'll go and kneel down and do some meditation, and I'll calm it down, and I'll bring back in that more passive Ida channel that I will be needing after I've done the active. So it's this beautiful dance. What I love about studying Ayurveda is that it's reflective to me of the universe all around me. So I can understand Ayurveda through myself, but I can also understand the world and culture and society around me through these same principles. So when I look at the world, I see qualities such as really fast moving information. I see a really fast pace of life. I see a lot of moving parts myself as a parent. There's just so many moving parts that I'm dealing with. There's pressures that we can feel from cultural expectations of how we need to do things or how we shouldn't be doing things that may conflict with what is actually going on for us. I see a high focus on productivity and how we get things done, being efficient, putting a lot of expectations on how much and how fast and how good whatever it is that we need to produce is. So this is like a very active and analytical, this is hot, this is sort of pressurized qualities that are aligning with what the Pingala channel promotes. So in society, we have an overactivation, and this is creating imbalance. And those of us who don't have the practice or the toolkit to bring naturally back the opposite qualities that are more cooling, calming, feminine, lunar, nourishing qualities to help create a healthy balance of these two, which are innate, which are important, which are available and present for every single person in the world. How are you sharing your gifts and passion for caregiving with others? In a world where education and awareness around the postpartum window is lacking or missing from our modern systems, we have a profound opportunity to shift that paradigm. You may be a few simple offerings away from making a truly impactful difference in the lives of mothers and families in your community. We are here to support your journey in the ways that work best for you. Schedule a conscious care strategy session to meet one-on-one with me, and let's identify the right next step for you to begin a path of conscious care for new families that fits your life and your needs. Visit www.sacredwindowstudies.com/strategy-session to schedule a time that works best for you. That's www.sacredwindowstudies.com/strategy-session. So I thought I'd give just a few examples from my own life because when I listen to other people teach, it's really helpful for me to see some of this in context. So I maybe you haven't listened to me talk about my family before, but I'm a mom to 4 boys. And I described the other day to a friend as we were walking that I feel like life is dragging me along and I'm just trying not to drop any of my shit. I feel like it's just so fast and I can hardly remember, like if I have to look at the calendar multiple times a day because there's so many things that someone has and I'm constantly trying to rearrange things because so easily things will get put on top of other things. And so I am holding a lot, whether it's, their activities or their medical appointments or making sure they're nourished properly, making sure they're getting the support they needed for their education, for their social lives, for the emotional support they might need. And all of this is such a gift. I'm so blessed to be able to do it, but it's a lot. So my Pingala, like my heat and the pressure to like be active and on top and analytical to all those things is really high. Um, in partnership, so with my husband, there's this gratitude for sharing this load, and also we're coordinating and trying to work together and support each other in the unique ways that we need to, which always don't line up. And so there's, intricacies there and trying to not be over analytical and try to be more nourished and creative in the ways that we can approach what it is that we need to do. And without doing that intentionally, it can easily become like almost, like, okay, you got this and I got this and we're doing this and okay, where are we going? By the end of the day, we're burnt. So the final example I'll give is in running a business. So I'm so beyond blessed to be able to talk about this topic, that Ayurveda and postpartum care and parenthood and healing and the divine, like the things I get to talk about for me are incredibly nourishing. And I also run a business. So there's all the other aspects of finding balance with the Ida side, which is this feminine, this nourishing, this thing that is natural to me in my space, and also trying to create structure that supports that to help it to be sustainable and to grow. And that dance is something that we all have to do as business owners, running our own practices. It's finding that structured piece alongside the more creative, the more natural piece, which is probably why we started this practice to begin with. So it's just a little glimpse into how we can see these qualities at play in our own lives and how feeling imbalance in one area gives us the opportunity to create practices that help to give us the experience of not being burnt, of not being overheated, overfrayed. And I will say that this is a daily practice because the world that we live in is so geared towards the masculine, the hot, the active, the analytical. That is what we are faced with, most of us, on a daily, hourly basis. And so it takes intention and purpose to foster enough of these other opposite qualities to give us the experience we need. So when I think of the feminine word mother, to me, this is representative of the energetic Ida. In traditional Chinese philosophy, this is the yin. This is, we look at yin and yang. This is a universal concept. This is about the dual, like opposing, but completely interdependent qualities that are present within all of life. So this is something we have, whether we identify as male or female or neither, we have all the qualities within us in a unique state of balance for us. We have our own place that is exactly the right space, and language is very limiting. So it's up to us to sort of seek out what that balance feels like for us. And then within our daily lives, we get the opportunity to make shifts and make changes that really give us the opportunity to come back to the spot of perfect balance in that moment that we need. So for those of you who may not have listened to a podcast that I did a while back called The Universal Mother Principles, that really goes deeply into these principles, but I want to name them now to give you a sense of what these are. These are intention, simplicity, flexibility, compassion, listening, intuition, grounding, non-judgment, and presence. So when I teach about these in our program, I always ask students as an exercise after class to go and sit with and meditate on these qualities. And is there a quality that needs to be there for you to give the universal mother principles the impact that it is that we're looking for, which is the ability to access the fullness of life, full and complete balance in the way that is right for us in that moment. So what is it that we need that's going to help us to balance out anything that is imbalanced, likely things that are too hot, too fast, too pressurized, too analytical, leading us into a place that's a stressful response of a place. So these universal mother principles, remember, this is what enables us to experience care. It's what enables us to actually give effective care to another person, our clients, our kids, our partners, most importantly, ourselves. If you think about it, and I didn't realize this when I first started writing about them, I was literally just looking about it in terms of how to be a good doula. And then I realized, oh crap, like I need intention. I need flexibility big time. I need non-judgment on myself right now. Like I need non-judgment often on myself, and I won't even go into all of the other ones. So I invite you to do the same thing. This journey into what we want to experience in life, how we want to be in relationship to others, how we want to be in relationship to ourselves. And can we see beyond words? Can we see beyond labels? Can we see beyond constructs that create a feeling of separation and limiting and constriction? Can we experience the limitlessness that is beyond, which is everything about what these principles are designed divinely to do? I did not design these. I just heard them from something that was beyond me. So whether it was my higher self, I don't know. All I know is that the application of these is really important. So whatever it is that you need to call them, do it. Do it. This is about what it means in your body, in your heart, in your relationships, in the way that you communicate in all ways. This is about creating the life you want to live and the experience that you want to have through these universal principles. So thank you so much for listening. And please share in the comments whatever it is that is in your heart as you listen to this episode. Please share it with a friend. We're so grateful that you're here. And thank you.
Shanti, Shanti.
The Center for Sacred Window Studies has been training postpartum care providers, professionals who work with new families, and individuals passionate about postpartum care since 2018. We regularly host live free events alongside our online and in-person training and certification programs. Hop on our newsletter list to get direct access to all of our events and community support gatherings. Our mission is not only in training conscious postpartum care providers, but in fostering a robust, informed, and thriving community of postpartum professionals. Once you step inside, you're family forever. Visit www.sacredwindowstudies.com to add your email to our newsletter list. You can support our work by subscribing to the Sacred Window podcast and sharing with someone you know who would love it. Thanks for being here and participating in the culture-wide shift that recognizes the need for and the importance of conscious postpartum care.